NCR Corporation is a leader in omnichannel solutions, turning everyday interactions with businesses into exceptional experiences. With its software, hardware, and portfolio of services, NCR enables nearly 700 million transactions daily across financial, retail, hospitality, travel, telecom, and technology industries. NCR solutions run the everyday transactions that make your life easier. NCR is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, with about 30,000 employees and does business in 180 countries.
Innovation happens in unlikely places. Innovation matters. We condition you all to think that I was just going to walk up on stage and say, thank you, it's great to be here. Right? But we need to condition ourselves to realize that things happen in unlikely places. Condition ourselves to realize that there is no one set path from where you are today to where you want to go. There are many paths that will change and will evolve as you move forward. It is a pleasure for me to join you here today at XSTEM and SciFest. And thank you for taking the time to listen to my story, my journey, and NCR's story. A couple things that I want to reiterate and you remember throughout this next 28 minutes and 33 seconds. Innovation matters, and innovation happens in unlikely places. What do we mean by that? NCR is a company that's 135 years old this year. NCR has 30,000 employees, or 34,000 employees worldwide. Our software and hardware and technology supports over 760 million transactions a day. Think about that. 760 million transactions a day, from ATMs to point of sales to mobile devices where you order your food at some of your favorite restaurants. That's our technology. I'm the CTO. Holy crap, how'd that happen? I still pinch myself when I get up and realize that I'm the CTO of a Fortune 500 company, and a company that has a long and illustrious history of innovation. How many of you know what NCR stands for? A few hands, I hear one right here. National Cash Register. 135 years ago in Dayton, Ohio, that was the name of our company. Today we go by NCR because acronyms are easier, but it's no longer about the cash register. Now, we still are involved in monetary transactions every day. ATMs, bank branches you might walk into to get coins or to get bills. Restaurants where you go and you order, and at the point of sale where you pay. Or if any of you go to Chick-fil-A and they do line busting outside on really busy Saturdays, that's the technology that my team builds. Retail shops, when you go into a Walmart or many other retailers, the self-checkout line is our hardware and mostly our software. And we integrate with partners and companies of all shapes and sizes in over 120 countries around the world. Wow, I got a pretty awesome job. And I enjoy it every day because we are making innovation happen in unlikely places, and we're continuing to reinvent ourselves as a company and as individuals on a daily, weekly, monthly, and annual basis. You guys are all interested in STEM. The rate and pace of change that technology is happening in today's world, in my 20 years in industry, is only getting faster. That's why I use that word reinvent. I have to continually reinvent what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing, what we're working on at NCR to outpace all the smart people like you and those that came before you and that sat in these rooms that are creating startups. Startups here in DC, startups in Florida, startups in Silicon Valley, startups and companies in London and in Asia and in Africa. Innovation will be happening everywhere across the world every day. And that means in my job as CTO, I need to be thinking about what's on the horizon. What haven't we even thought of yet that will differentiate our company for another 135 years? Because I guarantee you, some of you will be working at companies very soon that will be trying to disrupt my industry and disrupt what I'm doing at NCR. And I welcome that because that's a challenge. That's part of the fun that we have to outpace the competition, to satisfy our customers, satisfy our clients, our consumers, all of you that use our software and our technology. So that's a little bit about NCR. It's a little bit about what we do. So I mentioned I've been 20 years in industry. I started in technology industry as a third semester college student. And innovation happens in unlikely places because I came from a very unlikely place of a dairy farm in South Dakota. Very rural South Dakota. I lived 12 miles from my high school, a town of 850 people. I only had 42 kids in my graduating class. But I loved math. I loved science. I had a teacher that taught me programming at 13. It was a challenge, but I loved to immerse myself in new thoughts and ideas. But my grandpa always told me, Tim, you can take the boy out of the farm, you can't take the farm out of the boy. And boy, was he right. I still love to go back, and you can see here farming, harvesting corn with my dad, showing my cattle, hanging out with my niece and nephew. My family instilled the value of hard work and a work ethic because every morning at 4:30 in the morning, we were up milking cows. I took that with me as I went on my journey in technology. Technology started through high school, like I said, and this is actually a picture taken of me and my National Science Quiz Bowl qualifying team from little old Elcester, South Dakota. Leah, Peter, Seamus, Sheila, and myself actually got to come here to DC as seniors in high school and compete out in Chevy Chase at the National 4-H Center in the National Science Quiz Bowl. We didn't know any better. We're from South Dakota. But we were competing against students that were going to Stanford and going to Harvard and going to all these Ivy League schools. And I'm proud to say I'm standing here today as a graduate from South Dakota State University. Not an Ivy League school. Innovation happened in South Dakota. South Dakota made me who I am, and I've been able to actually work my way through 20 years of industry and a privilege to talk to you and share with you my story. All because I learned about science and math in a small little high school in South Dakota. So similar to Gabby, I've got 3 things that I'm going to share with you today as well. Her 3 revelations. I've got 3 things that I think everyone should think about as you want to be successful in your journey and in your career. And always keep in mind what I said earlier. There is no one path. There is no one journey. Many people ask me, how do I do what you did, Tim? And I can give you a guidance, I can give you a framework, I can talk to you about it, but your journey will be different than mine. I guarantee you that. So 3 things that I want you to think about. The first is your perspiration must match your aspiration. You have to be willing to work hard, get sweaty, put in the work, put in the effort to succeed. In 20 years, I've met lots of people that say, I want to be a vice president. I want to be a CEO. I want to be a director or a manager of people. You have to be willing to put in the work. Your perspiration must match your aspiration. That's rule number 1. Got to be willing to work hard, and you will be successful if you put your mind to it. A couple of things that revolve around. You got to have passion. Hopefully you realize I am super passionate about what I do. I love my job, and there's some quotes that go around saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. You have to love what you do day in and day out, and I'll tell you, I love technology, I love software, I love interacting with people, and I love delighting customers or consumers. We'll come back to that in a moment. Resilience. You've heard from the other speakers. You've got to be willing to fail and get knocked down and get back up. Resilience is all about what you do when you get back up. And when you think about it in a software and a technology world, there's this concept of fail fast. And you might say, well, why do you want to fail? You don't want to fail, but not every idea you have, not every piece of software that you write, not every piece of code or hardware that you build is going to work. I've written a lot of bad code in my day, and then I had to go fix it. You got to be willing to fail fast, fail forward, some might say, because you're always going to progress. You're always going to build better from your learnings if you have failures or setbacks along the way. And finally, especially in software, but I think in every part of your life, teamwork is eminent and teamwork is required to be successful. Collaboration, learning from others around you, learning from your peers, your colleagues, those that came before you, helping teach those that will come after you. I like to say, a rising tide raises all ships. NCR is my third company, and I've always went and found the people that will challenge me, that will collaborate with me, that will work with me to raise the ship of our company, and therefore raise the ship of all of us as individuals, and raise that tide so our customers come along on that journey with us. Your perspiration must match your aspiration. I also like numbers. Numbers have meaning to me, and I want to share a couple of numbers that mean something to me with all of you today. Maybe it'll make some of the message, some of the thoughts that I'm sharing with you on my journey stick. First number is 4. 4 is how old I was when my dad put me on a tractor by myself and told me, go do X, Y, Z. I was 4. Now, I had watched him for a lot of years riding along in the tractor, didn't really know any better, so I got in the tractor, I went and did it. At 4 years old, I learned the value of hard work, and that still has me getting into the office every morning between 6 and 6:30 today as the CTO, because I know I got to start early, I got to work hard, and my company and my team and our products are going to be successful. Know your audience. So clearly I did some research on the audience that was going to be here in front of me today. These are a couple of pictures of me presenting on your right at Helsinki, Finland, at a startup conference called Slush. 15,000 people, all from startups across Europe, and I was there talking about what? Innovation. Innovation Mattered was actually the title of that presentation. And then on the left-hand side is that me, when I was at IBM, talking in front of 20,000 people at a conference in Las Vegas. It was my first time on the super-duper big stage, and boy, was it cool. I loved it, and I was talking about innovation and working with a customer of ours as we were building cloud-native software that tied biometrics out of a cockpit of a speedboat, and that was able to actually tell us biometrics as well as telemetry data of the powerboat that goes 125 miles an hour across the ocean. He was my customer. I was working with him on building cloud-native solutions to make him a more effective, better racer based on data. I talk about knowing your audience, and part of your audience is your customer. So as you get into industry, as you start building something, whether it's a startup, or whether you're working for an IBM or an NCR or a Intel or a Microsoft or a Dell or whoever, know who your customer is. If you know who your customer is, if you know why you're building and designing the software that you're building, Jess is going to follow me. She's going to talk about building video games. Know your audience, know your customer, and design for that. If you do that, you will be successful in your career. So what number matters to me about my audience, my customers? 22,000. And actually 2,000 goes with this as well. My last job at IBM, I started their cloud platform. Their platform as a service called IBM Bluemix. now rebranded to IBM Cloud Platform. I got the job in February 1st. They told me in 4 weeks' time we had to have a platform stood up for beta users, and we were going to onboard 2,000 customers to our platform. We turned it on, and within 7 days, there were 22,000 customers on our platform. Yikes. Needless to say, we weren't quite ready for 22,000 when we planned for 2,000, but again, that ties me back to know your audience, know what to expect, and especially if you're in software, plan for more. In this case, I should have planned for 10x more. But again, know your audience and you will be successful. And finally, I would tell you, find a mentor. Find someone that you can collaborate with, that you trust, that you can be coached by, that you can learn from their failures or their shortcomings in their career. And I've had a lot of great mentors over my 20 years, but these two pictures are two of my closest and most dear friends, as well as mentors. On the left is Beth Smith, on the right is Marie Week, both general managers at IBM. And when I say find a mentor, I joke with people. This is my third one, hopefully you're following along, right? I always joke with people and I say, you gotta have a little bit of luck. And I don't know if it was luck or if I sought out the right people or they saw something in me. However it happened, I don't care. I'm really happy that it did. These two amazing women, these two brilliant technology women at IBM helped make me who I am today. I actually sent them an email this morning before I was coming over here with the final presentation and thanked them again for being my mentor and for coaching and teaching and training me to be the leader that I am today. If you look at my trading card says engineer and leader. Those are two words that I wanted to do since I was 13 years old and I got taught programming by Mr. Webster in Elsister, South Dakota. And I'm happy to say I'm still an engineer and I'm a leader, but I'm not going to be done leading. I look for people that I can mentor, that I can train, that I can pass on the great wisdom from all of my mentors, but specifically from Beth and Marie, to help people grow in their career. And so what number comes with a mentor? It's something Beth said to me once. She said, Tim, it only takes 10 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes. We all get running so fast, and you're going to see this in your schoolwork, in your classwork, in college, and as you get into industry and you get into your jobs. We're all running so fast, we don't have time. I don't have time to answer that. I don't have time to talk about something that matters to you. I'm off to my next meeting. And Beth stopped me one day and she said, Tim, it only takes 10 minutes. Think about that. It can take 10 minutes to answer a question. It can take 10 minutes to connect dots between two people that are working on something similar and you want them to collaborate together so they have teamwork. It can take 10 minutes to remind people that we got to go do something else to be successful because we had lost sight of our customer. It only takes 10 minutes. So, my three things that have helped me be successful in my career. The three things that I think about every day when I get up and I go into my office or I walk into a customer meeting or I've got the great privilege of standing here in Washington, D.C. and talking to all of you young, talented individuals in this room. Your perspiration must match your aspiration. You must be willing to work hard to drive success with your team, with your colleagues, with your fellow students, with your teachers, whoever it is, work hard. You will be successful. Secondarily, know your audience, know your customers, know who the consumers are. If you know that and you live in that every day, you will be successful. And finally, find a mentor or mentors. Find someone that you can collaborate with, you can talk to, you can, most importantly, learn from. Like I said, I've had a lot of mentors along the way, but I guarantee you, I would not be here today as the CTO for NCR without Beth and Marie. So work hard, know your customer, know your audience, find a mentor, and you too will be successful. Thank you. Thank you very much.